Sometimes Jesus said some things that I like half of them, but I don't like the whole thing. Like in John 9, there's this story where Jesus and his followers are coming along, and they see a guy who was born blind. And they ask him, Jesus, was he born blind because his parents were sinners or because he's a sinner? And Jesus replied, and I like the first half, neither this man nor his parents sinned. Whew, wasn't that. But I don't like the second part. It says, but this happened so the works of God might be displayed in him. And I like to skip past it, but let's just stop and see what it actually says. What it actually says is, this man was born blind in some way so that we could heal him and God would be glorified. He spent the first part of his life, 30 years, blind, with the primary reason so that God could be glorified later. Now, I'm not saying it's just because of that, but just that statement by itself is scary. And I think it points to a problem I've got. See, I believe the glory of God is valuable. I believe bringing glory to God is a very, very valuable, important thing. But do I believe that bringing glory to God is so valuable that it's worth someone suffering? Do I even believe it's worth people going through really hard times even? And I'm afraid most of us, most of the time, would say God's glory is not worth our suffering. Which means we don't value God's glory enough. We don't value the fact that glorifying God is the greatest good in the universe. We have taken our faith and made it very me-centric, very human-centric, instead of being God-centric. And a very non-faith, because we're not trusting that God can make suffering worthwhile in his long-term economy. But the reality was that God allowed this man to be born blind because God believed he would get greater glory and he could work greater good through allowing him to be born blind than not. And that's an important lesson for me to learn about the value of the glory of God and how much I overvalue my feelings. And that's today's very uncomfortable Jumpstart.